How do you understand other people's feelings? Empathy can be a challenge for those who aren't naturally good at it. Some people are born that way, and others need to learn the hard way. In this episode of the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast, Dr. Jacob Kashiwagi explains how to be more empathetic if you aren't naturally skilled at it, and how to say nothing. However, don't expect too much of yourself. Those who aren't skilled at empathy should try to avoid situations where a lot of empathy is required.
Welcome to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast, episode 63.
Everyone wants happiness and success, and we know how to get you there. Come listen to the Leadership Society of Arizona as we teach a proven logic to help you simplify life, overcome challenges, and predict the future. You're listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast.
Welcome to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. My name is Chuck Solanas, and I'm joined by our special guest, Dr. Jacob Kashiwagi. Hey, thanks for coming on. The question for today is, what do you recommend to become more empathetic? Being like someone who just understands others.
Oh, good question. Okay, well, the short answer for this, Chuck, is I don't think people can really change their ability to be empathetic too much with others. So either you have a knack for it or you don't.
Why am I not okay with that?
Maybe it's because you want to become more empathetic and that kind of really was a downer on it. Puts a downer on your hopes of it.
Put a pin in my balloon.
Okay, but there are some things that people can do to become better at it, but it's not going to change too much. So, I just want to make sure that that's clear first.
Okay.
I don't want to give you any unrealistic expectations that you're going to be able to do something and then all of a sudden become a lot more empathetic with what people are going through and who people are. But here's the thing, like, to be empathetic, what does it take? It takes to be able to put yourself in their shoes and know how it feels, right? So everybody has some sort of an ability to be empathetic, because you have experiences in your life that you've been through. And there are other people who've also been through similar experiences. So when you meet someone with the exact same experience that you've gone through, it's very hard not to be empathetic in some sort of significant way to this person, right? But there are some people who have a talent that they don't have to go through an event to understand how it must feel to go through that event. And these people are what we call people who are really empathetic with other people who can be therapists and things and coaches and things like that, because they can listen, and even if they haven't been through it, they can put themselves in the other person's shoe and know exactly how it must feel, know exactly what they would want to hear and for someone to do to them or for them if they were going through the same situation. So if you really want to become that type of person and you don't have that capability, then you have to go through a lot of different experiences in life. So that's the first thing. You want to become more empathetic, then put yourself in a lot of very different situations, doing a lot of different things, having a lot of different experiences. And it will kind of give you a good flavor. So there's more people you can meet where you've been through what they've been through, actually. Does that make sense?
Right. So basically, you have to live through the experiences that they're going through in order to empathize with them, if you're not that type of person.
Yeah, if you don't have that talent, if you can't see it without doing it, then you got to go do it. And the more you do, the more empathetic you'll be with people. I have to tell you, my life, there's a lot of things I've done that just different things that just so that I could understand what people were going through. Because it comes with I have a good talent for it, but I'm not like at the top level, you know? So growing up, going through college, there was a time where this girl invited me to go to her workout class in a gym. I'd never been to a gym before that time except to the ASU gym, and I've never been to a workout class before. So I went with her to figure out, well, what is it? Come to find out, it's an all women's type thing. There are no other men there. So I come in here, the only guy, and these women are doing these workouts, and I've never done it before, so I don't know what it's like. But they're using these, you know, really light weights and stuff, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, this is fine. And then I start doing it, I'm starting to realize that this is actually a pretty heavy workout.
Yeah.
Using a lot of muscle that I never use.
I've been through that, so I understand. It's pretty challenging. I took some yoga and Pilates classes in college, and it really opened my eyes to recognize that a lot of the stuff that, you know, maybe women dominated is like stuff that I have not developed.
So, you know, in doing that, now when other guys like you or other people say, hey, I went to this, you know, class and then I was like the only guy there and they're telling me about their experience, it allows me to be a lot more empathetic.
Yeah.
I know it, I've been through it, right? And so, yes, the more experiences you have, and the better, you know, the better you can empathize with other people because you've just been through a lot. You actually know what it feels like. There's other ways too that you can also build this as well. I find watching movies is a great way. Movies will give you especially Korean dramas. Okay, let me tell you, these Korean dramas are very real to life, and you get to see the reactions of people going through many different things. So it's quite an amazing thing to watch them and to get a feel for what happens in other people's lives and how people react to them, how people feel.
Does it have to be Korean dramas?
Well, I gotta tell you, and this is because I've been through a lot of experience here with watching many different types of dramas. I've had Indian friends who show me Bollywood movies and dramas. I'm Japanese, so I know Japanese type dramas. My wife is Chinese, so I've seen Chinese dramas. Seen a lot of different types of movies and dramas here. By far, the Koreans are the best at it. The Koreans are most real to life. They know how to act. They know how things should feel, right? And their dramas are so real to life. It's really an amazing thing to watch. So, yes, if you're gonna watch a drama series, definitely the Koreans do the best out of all the Asian dramas. But, you know, I like ones that deal more with the family. I deal more with interrelationships, you know, maybe with parents and children, siblings, different things like that. I find it very intriguing. Some people like more of like the school dramas better, like maybe teenagers at schools and how they interact. They got all of them, right?
Got it.
Some people might like looking at the military dramas or whatever it might be, right?
All right. Okay.
So watching movies, back to our point, watching movies, dramas, great way to learn to be empathetic too. But remember, it only helps you a little bit because if you don't have that talent, it's really hard to pick it up. Third, talk to people. Always ask people about their life, how they feel, what they're going through. Empathizing is a skill, just like planning is in our last episode. The more you try to empathize with people, the more you try to understand what they're going through. You talk to them about their experiences, you hear what they're saying, you try to give them advice and to empathize with them, and you hear their feedback on, well, I'd never say that to someone going through my situation. Then you start to learn, right? Eventually you start to learn.
I'm laughing because I've gotten that, but anyway, keep going.
So yes, the more you do it, the more you talk to people, the more you learn about what they go through, the more you'll be able to empathize.
Okay, so let's say for example you've got like a different set of values or things that you appreciate in life. Let's say for example that is I've had this conversation this week on just like making sure all working hours are like filled to the brim with productivity, making sure that every single hour counts.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure that happens, but other people that work in similar roles to me don't value that quite as much. They want to get just enough done within the hours.
Well, you can still empathize with that. You can have your own values, but empathizing with other people isn't about what you believe. It's about putting yourself in their shoes as if you believed how they believed, to be able to understand what they're going through. You put everything you believe aside, and you take everything that they believe and put it in your mind, and you play this out in your mind on how this feels every day at work and how threatened you are by people who overproduce, because now it makes you do more and you don't want to do more. And then people start thinking you're not doing anything, and then you get all mad at that. There's so many ways that people can go with this, but that's the skill of empathy, is you take all of your personal bias and you throw it out the window and you put whatever they're thinking into your mind. Does this make sense?
Okay, so what are ways that you can better do that? So if it's safer, yeah. Okay.
The 3 ways we just talked about here, Chuck.
Just watching movies, talking with people, and what was the other one?
Going through more experiences.
Going through more experiences.
Yes. So for example, in this situation, out of the 3, I would pick the 3rd one. Talk to these people who don't want to overproduce. Figure out why they don't want to overproduce. Get from their own mouth what they're thinking and what they're going through and why they're doing what they're doing. And then it will help you.
I don't know.
Let's do more scenarios here. Okay. In a situation that you're with some coworkers going through some serious family drama of crazy things happening in their personal life, and you want to empathize with them. Which one of the 3? Definitely the movies and Korean dramas. You go watch one of those. You'll start figuring out what's going on in their family real quick. Okay? Okay. Let's do another situation. Okay, so you're outside and your neighbor is trying to get more in shape, so you see them running every day, and they don't usually run. Which one of the 3 that you need to do? Definitely the first one. Go run with them for a couple of days and figure out what they're going through here. See how this works? Do you have another scenario for me, Chuck? I think I'm on a roll here.
I think those are fine. I've done a lot of those things, and if you're saying that I can't develop the ability, then what are ways around it then? Do I just find myself in different situations that I don't have to empathize with people or get my find a way to just make it so I don't have to empathize?
No, everybody has an ability to empathize to a degree. Just don't be going out of your way to get into tough empathizing situations that you know you're not going to be able to help the person.
Okay, examples.
Example. Somebody has a completely different moral belief than you, and they're going through a tough time. Yeah, don't be the one volunteering to go empathize and console that person. Does this make sense here?
But doesn't that go to the experience thing? You need to go through the experience of empathizing with them.
No, you want to go through the experience. You want to do the third one
Let's just talk with them.
when it's like something small, you know, when it's something that's easy, right? That's where you want to go through that. When it's high risk, yeah, you don't go volunteer for that. Okay.
Got it. So you just step aside, say, I'm not qualified.
Say, I know a person who's a lot more qualified than me in this.
And then volunteer them.
Yes. I love volunteering other people for things. I'm making sense here, Chuck.
You're making more sense. There's some situations where I don't think I can get out of it, where I need to be the one to offer empathy. And I've just had to learn the hard way a lot of times.
Sometimes you need to, which is perfectly fine. If you have to be the one, then be the one. Do the best job you can, and you'll be fine.
I've found that my problem is that I offer a ton of advice on like how to go through that situation. So that someone will say like, "Oh, I'm going through this really tough situation," and I got the feedback that I provide a ton of unsolicited advice.
Got a very easy solution for this for you.
Just don't provide unsolicited advice.
No, just don't talk. You get in the situation, don't talk.
You have to talk. You have to provide some response.
Okay, let's do this. Okay. Let me empathize with you. I'll show you how to do this here, Chuck.
Okay, I'll give you a tough one. Dr. Jacob, you know, I don't feel like my life matters.
Tell me about it.
I just think that every day I wake up, I do the same thing, and I don't know what to do.
Keep going.
Well, you know, I feel down all the time. I feel like constantly thinking, well, why is there anything that I should be doing? What is it that I should be doing with my life and my time?
What do you think?
I think I should just watch TV and play video games.
Do you really think that?
I don't know, because I don't have a whole lot of purpose from those things.
Is there anything else?
Those are the only things that I've spent doing with my time lately.
Anything you want to do?
You know, I really want to help people. I think maybe that's it.
Anything else? You see how this works?
Okay. So that is what you consider not talking.
That is not saying anything.
But you're still responding, and you're still like leading some of the conversation.
I'm not saying anything. Everything that comes out of my mouth, it's not saying anything.
Okay.
Right? It might have a question or something, but I don't really have to say anything. And that's the whole key, is that when you're empathizing with people, they don't actually want to hear you talk. They don't want to hear you say anything most of the time. If you're in like a more complex situation, then yeah, maybe you might need to say something that they want to hear, that they need to hear. But we're going to try and minimize those situations, right? If you're not comfortable.
Okay. All right. Well, a lot of times you think, well, I'm in that situation. I need to say something, right?
No. Don't think it. Don't think about it. Never that case. Don't say anything.
Well, how do you know? How do you know?
Just know that every time. 100%.
Okay, so the situation that you have to empathize is when they're distraught, or when they're
Look, here's the thing: is 80% of the time you're better off not saying anything. And because you can't tell the difference between those times and the times you do have to say something, if you err on the side of not saying anything, you're probably going to be a lot better off here. Especially if it's with your wife. Just saying. Okay, I'm just saying.
Right. Okay. Well, so you're saying the markers of I need to empathize at this moment are what?
When someone says, Chuck, I need to talk. That's your cue of I'm empathizing, shouldn't say anything. And in your mind, you're thinking, oh no, this is actually a conversation. It's not empathizing. No, it's empathizing. Don't say anything. Shut it off.
Got it. Okay.
No, don't. Chuck, I know what you're thinking. Don't think it. Shut it off.
All right. So what are the signs that you shouldn't empathize at that point?
No, you should always empathize at that point.
No. Like what? So if other than Chuck, I need to talk, what are signs that this is not going to be an empathizing conversation?
Well, to be honest with you, Chuck, anytime anybody comes to talk to you, it's an empathizing conversation. You're best off not saying anything. Okay, no, but seriously, right? The more understanding you get, you start realizing that the less you say, the better. So everything does kind of become like an empathizing conversation because you start realizing that if someone's talking to you, they need empathy. You will be right 90% of the time if whenever you get in a conversation with someone, you're always assuming they want empathy from you. Especially in the world today, you will be so right every time. Now, when do I need to say something? When I'm doing something. To me.
So you only give advice to yourself?
No, I give advice to a lot of people, but that's because I don't have enough self-control not to say anything. I do find that as I get older, I am less prone to want to give advice, more prone not to say anything in all my conversations. Because you just start realizing that you have no influence, impact, or control over other people. You're better off not saying anything.
All right.
Wow, that's not what you were expecting today, was it, Chuck?
Hey, I asked how I could improve on empathy, and that is an answer. So I think if I just take the stance that I always need to empathize and just not say anything, then I think I'm gonna improve. But I mean, beyond like from coming to like 0 to like 100 versus someone that's already at 90 and going to 100, yeah, I think I'm probably going to go from 0 to maybe like 20 versus someone at 90 going to 100. So maybe I'll improve, but it'll just be like slight.
To make you feel better, everybody only improves slightly. No matter where they are, their ability to improve that is very little, in my opinion. Even myself, right? Everybody is stuck at their level of being able to empathize with other people.
So I've reconsidered. I'm gonna be the one that goes from 0 to 100. I can do it.
Yes. Now, so I can empathize with that, Chuck.
All right. There you go. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Jacob, for the time. Thank you, listeners, for listening, and viewers for watching. Have a good rest of your day, and happy empathizing.
Thank you for listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. It would be great if you could take a moment to write us a review. For any questions, comments, or topics that you would like to have addressed on the show, email the team at leadaz.org. To learn more about the Leadership Society of Arizona, visit us at leadaz.org.